Hello once again everyone. So I want to take the opportunity to kind of go over some fun new pieces that I've recently acquired that you may be seeing in videos coming up, as well as just in general if you're in the school, you'll definitely see them, and if you're following any of our social media, you may also see them. So these are just things that I've recently picked up that I kind of want to talk about, but either haven't tested yet or hadn't gotten the opportunity to play with. So first on the list is one I didn't actually necessarily expect to get. It is this guy, which this is the Dark Star gambeson. Actually, it's a women's gambeson originally, but it fits me very, very well, which is from Arm Street. This one was also coincidentally in some of the colors that I prefer. Now, the reason that I went ahead and got this, besides the fact that, again, very well made, fits me very well, but also, this has a unique feature. And it's actually Lachlan Glorious of Warriors, who actually clocked me onto this, because he wears part of this, is that I have the jacket here, but if I want to, I can actually take off the torso piece and still have padded sleeves. Now, I'm not cinched up right now, but the basic idea is I can actually use this as two pieces. And if I want to, I could also just wear the chest piece and have my arms bare. Now, the immediate question would be, okay, neat. Why? Right? Well, I often find that when I am teaching, in particular when I'm teaching something like sword and buckler or messer, I often would like to have my skin just covered on my arms, and I can obviously wear a long sleeve shirt or something like that, but that's not necessarily great for adding a little bit of protection. Now, this is not going to be like super padded, but this will do great for just preventing myself from getting cut or rubbed or things along those lines. So being able to just have sleeves on can be super convenient, and this is very easy to throw over pretty much anything I wear. So I'm actually a pretty big fan of this. Only things I would say is this slit is a little bit wide, so I might add a button personally, but still fits over my gloves. I actually wore this during the long shield, the dueling shield, the swabbing right class at WAW, and halfway through it was getting rather warm because it was the first class of the day, so I went and just took off the chest piece, wore the sleeves for the rest of the time. It was great. So really, really cool piece.
I will probably be using it more as time goes on, as you guys watch me struggle out of it, but
it's, like I said, really, really awesome. I really like the concept. It also, believe it or not, despite there being, obviously separate sleeves, when I lift my arms, it really doesn't make a gap or things along those lines. Certainly nothing that is any, worse than a normal jacket. Pretty much all of my skin is still covered, and again, it's in my colors. What's also super convenient about it, as I discovered on my way back from WAW, is because despite it being a gambeson, it is two pieces, it actually packs very flat, which is very, very nice. So, would I recommend it as like sparring stuff? Maybe light stuff. Like I said, Lachlan wears it over over a jacket, so basically he's got torso protection. The skin's already covered by a jacket, then he wears the sleeves on top of it and then protect gear, so he kind of just bulks up this area, but doesn't have to have more bulk here. That's something you could look into on your own. I wouldn't personally necessarily recommend it, but as far as like training, bang on the money, and it also is sexy as hell. So let's go ahead and take a break and talk about weapons. So the next thing that I have here is my Targe. So I've been wanting to have a Targe for a very long time. There are not many, if any, Targe makers in the United States. There aren't really many or any worldwide. So my father actually made this one. And the idea here, it's got a little bit of battle damage as you can see, but we'll talk about that again in a second. It is canvas over top of plyboard, and then the edges are rawhide that are tacked on with some rather sexy little tacks. On the back we have a little bit of padding between my forearm and the shield itself. The handle here is not actually wood, it is made of 2 bits of leather folded over and then stitched, which makes it into a nice, still malleable handle, but very, very strong, and just some simple bolts to connect it. So this guy kind of debuted at WAW and took a little bit of surface damage, but this is nothing that you can't just paint over. This one's probably the worst bit, which that was me parrying a thrust that was going at my crotch at the time, so that's definitely glad that landed there. Beyond that, it's very light, moves incredibly well, looks very, very good, and hopefully some of my students will start having my father make these for him, because make these for them rather, because these are pretty sweet. So, highly recommend it. You'll probably be seeing a lot more of it. Speaking of my father's work, the other thing that I have here is my new training rapier. So, a little bit of backstory on this guy. This blade is actually my original rapier blade. It's a 42-inch baited blade, and I was using it as you normally do, and the pommel snapped off. Basically, the last little bit of threading had come under torsion, and it snapped off with the pommel. Not a big deal, as you guys may have noticed, I still use that same hilt. However, the problem was the blade had now been shortened, because that is the issue. And it would not fit, so we welded it back, and we could make it fit together, but there was the concern of then, well, it could still break again. If we're gonna put it somewhere, we probably ought to take that blade and put it on something else and get a new blade, since I was getting ready to go to Surfo. So this blade sat around for a little while, and I went over some designs with my father as to what kind of hilt I might want, and I really wanted something more simplistic. This is just for pretty much training. I may spar with it still, but what we came up with was this simple guy. So basically the idea here is we have an asymmetrical hilt with just slight cupping. We have the crossguard is actually made out of round stock originally that was welded together and then covered and then sanded together. So this is a very, very strong hilt. In fact, the fork here is going through like 3 layers of metal, so I'm not worried about that thing breaking. And then for the grip, apparently this pommel is actually a tractor part that he found, which I rather like how sporty it looks. And then he shaped the grip himself. Now what this leads to is it leads to me, there's no ricalso, there's no finger ring. So I do grip it a bit more like you would a small sword or a foil, with the pommel sitting a bit more in my hand. Because the balance point is like right here, it makes the blade incredibly light and incredibly simple to move. Frankly, I feel like I could write my name with this thing without difficulty. It'll be great for training and things along those lines, and also pretty great for some lighter sparring and things along those lines. So again, really, really cool. I really like it aesthetically because it looks nice. I could also cut with it if for whatever reason my heart desired that. I don't think I'm going to do that a whole lot, but you do, I should point out in regards to like rapiers, you do occasionally see grips looking more like this, especially in like Capiferro and Fabris, despite their complex hilts. So certainly occasionally you took the finger off the ricasso, and you can still do everything from a normal sort of grip. So I'll be playing around with that and seeing what I see. So if you're watching Getting More, you may see this guy in place of my regular rapier for some plays. But our final piece, and this actually has some more friends coming, that when they get here, I will be doing probably another new armor / I'm just going to do a video on my harness again, because I've been meaning to. So this guy is my arming gambeson, or Akaton, from Steel Mastery, and this has quite the story behind it. So firstly, I think it's freaking awesome. I wish I slightly lived in a colder state so I could wear it around more often, but for now it is definitely one of those that I have to kind of pick the day I wear on, because it is quite warm. This guy I got because one of my guys got it originally, Jake, our resident Italian. I was very, very impressed with the construction, and so I was like, yeah, that'd be great, I'd love one of those. And kind of the plan with this is it's not going to replace my normal armor gambeson. It's a little too thick for that, but instead, at least without changing a lot about my mail, what this allows me to do is it is a universal pointing, right? I have all the points I could possibly need on me, which means that I can attach any level of armor to it without difficulty. So this will be more often what I'm wearing when I'm here in the school. I don't need to worry about wearing mail, but I may want to wear more plate, because with my current gambeson, that is not a possibility. So this will allow me to wear rebraces, it'll allow me to wear jack chains, it'll allow me to wear kind of pauldrons, whatever I want, without reaching further than just for the piece of metal. I love the length, so I can still wear my male skirt if I want to, but even if I wasn't, that is still covering a significant part of my waist. No collar, which means that my gorget underneath or my male collar does not get caught up in anything. I still need to try having my cuirass over this, but a breastplate will fit without difficulty, so I'll probably be wearing that more often. And along with it, I also went ahead and got some elbows. And I really like these elbows because, again, they're nice and simple, but they also have these fun little bits which match the one on my pauldrons, so I'm really, really enjoying those. Again, I'm going to be kind of putting it through its paces more as time goes on. I haven't really gotten the chance to use it a whole lot. The fit is pretty good for, obviously, Arm Street being overseas. They do not have, up close and personal. Little bit billowy in the back, but that's not a huge issue. The sleeves are the right length, the shoulders the right length, everything's great here. A little bit of billow I can live with because I can just belt myself in. Now the fun story about this particular piece is when I ordered this, it was completed about a week before Russia invaded. So this guy was ready to go. The elbows had not yet been completed, and they wanted to make sure they sent it out together. And I was honestly expecting never to get this piece. And I was completely okay with that. Like, you know, it's cold in Ukraine. So if someone ended up, stealing this and using it to just keep themselves warm, I was 100% fine with that. I was 100% fine with Steel Mastery just having my money and taking care of themselves because they're fantastic people. But they managed to get their stock out of the danger zone, and I've been now sending it out routinely and completing orders almost back to normal. So I'm very, very pleased. Same thing with Arm Street as well. Stuff made in Ukraine is made by some really, really good people, and you should show them your support. But I did not expect to get this, so when I get the note of, hey, we're sending it your way, I was like, oh my God, really? So this guy has a bit of a story, and I'm very, very proud to wear it, and very happy to have it, in case you couldn't tell by my shirt. Either way, though. So there's just some fun pieces. I've got a couple others coming, a couple other bits of armor that I am excited to add to my kit, play around with, see what I will do. It's gonna be a while before I am training in my harness again, since I just finished fighting at WMAW and I'm kind of like a bit of a break over the course of the winter. So we will see what I get up to. I do have some plans, however, to talk about different setups and things that I play around with, and we'll just kind of go from there. Either way though, hopefully this is interesting for people. Less fighting, more gear. It's been a while since I did one of these. And otherwise, thank you very, very much for watching. We'll go over some other fun pieces when I get them.